Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. And we have a little bit of classic constructed analysis slash kind of review, a little bit of a cast going on here. Not really a cast, more of the replay analysis. I'm joined by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot Rob,
Hello.
and this is we're getting the product together. We're essentially recording this on the Sunday of release, so we don't really like we've opened some product, but we
Yep.
don't have all
Not
the
enough to
necessary
put together
cards.
like cohesive decks.
Yeah, and we will like probably release some gameplay on the second week. So like not this coming week when you see this video, probably the week after, or whenever this comes out. But it is coming, so don't you worry. CC gameplay is going to be coming, especially for the newer builds or newer decks, so like Katsu, Azalea, Uzuri, Riptide, all the kind of good stuff, right? So in this particular case, because we couldn't give a pure gameplay video, I decided to do the next best thing with this, just a CC replay analysis, of course, to complement our Spark of Mediocrity collab as well as our limited content. So without further ado, this is the Chicago Brawl. So this is essentially the biggest release event. It's a 5K, 5K tourney, and run by MinMax. I like MinMax quite a bit.
See them
Actually,
at every big event.
they're at every Sam Dando is actually playing Uzuri on the right, and he works at MinMax, so is
Oh, nice.
he's
Yeah.
he's playing in it too.
He's
But
repping. Yeah.
yeah, great group of people over there. Definitely like him, so go check them out if you haven't. If you're especially if you're in the States, locally they got a nice selection. They run good events, and this was a collaboration with somebody. I forgot who was the actual person, but MinMax was hosting in Chicago,
Yep.
and we have Levi Rout. He was on the channel, talked about all about Azalea on the Spark of Genius channel, and he is also on Roundtable of Wraith. So go check out that channel as well. So I think I've plugged everything that I wanted to plug at
Yep.
this point.
Good
But
job.
we are in the semis. We are in the top four, the semis of this tournament. I believe Levi was X and one. I think he was 5-1, and no, sorry, 5-2, 5-2 or 6-1, and then Sam Dando was 6-0-1. So he got a draw into an Oldhim, which that game was streamed a little bit earlier, and he won every other game. And he's on the Uzuri on the right, which obviously from Spark of Mediocrity, Uzuri is one of the heroes we've been looking at. Azalea too, but Azuri is the new one, right? So
Yep.
his list is definitely even when I made the V2, as we're going to be recording that also, his list is definitely different than mine as far as like the side strategy. So his Uzuri list is more of a solid mid-range with aggressive plan. So it's a mid-range deck at its core with an aggressive sideboard.
Yep.
So it has kind of the same mid-range package that I run, but he has more aggressive options such as he runs Nimblism, he runs more. I think he runs zero. What's the buff? The 0 for 3 buff. The assassin one, a Razor's Edge. He runs 3 Razor's Edge. Things like that are really like much more aggressive tools, right? But they all
Yep.
block for 3, except for Nimblism.
Right. Yeah. So you focused on
The
the Azuri build for Spark of Mediocrity, and I
I
was on the
did.
Azalea build. So I'm curious to see how Levi uses the Crow's Nest here. I want to see what
A
arrows that he
real
put.
Azalea pro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, he knows what he's doing. So I hope to
Yeah.
see some good usage out of it. I haven't seen the game, but I'm curious to know if he put in some arrows that actually do take aim counters, or he's just
Yeah.
putting in the crow's nest just because you can. Right? There's no
Yeah.
slot that it's
Exactly.
competing with right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think, and then the Azalea build is pretty like, so like if you've been watching Levi like play Azalea on Talishar and such, it's not like it doesn't deviate too much to what he's been playing, but it's still a very strong list. Levi's a very strong player. He's obviously an Azalea connoisseur, as they say.
Hmm.
But without further ado, we're going into, I believe Sam won the roll and he's going first, I believe is what it is. So you'll see
Yep.
that Tunic ticked
Tunic's
up
already at one.
with, and if you're watching the stream at home, that is Drip Drop Dando. That's what it
Drip
is.
drop.
That's
That
what
is
his
his
titles.
tag. Yeah.
That's drag. Tick Drip Drop Dando. Don't know why, but that's what it is.
All right.
So we can start the
Without
game here.
further
So
ado, there we go.
uh, important to note, and then you see that aggressiveness that I talked about earlier, Nimblism coming
Nimblism.
off the back.
That's a card that you
Nimblism
didn't have in
isolate.
your deck. I remember.
Nope. Definitely an aggro, a little bit of an aggro hedge, but I think he runs it in the main board too. Oh, there's the Razor's Edge coming out here, just right
Yeah.
at the big boulder.
Boulder trap.
Okay, so we gotta look at this a little bit more carefully here. So we see definitely a little bit more of
Can
a
pause that here.
aggressive hedge coming in with the isolate, which is really nice. Gives 6 dominate, 9 dominate now. The boulder trap is the one for the power, so the increased power. Essentially, you're able to hit armor. So one is one ping to your armor to Sam's armor. Sweet. It is interesting. The one thing that me and Sam do have in common, our armor set's exactly the same. Crown Providence, Flick,
Tunic.
Black Tech, Tunic. He runs. I think our dagger list is the same now, but it didn't used to be. But he is starting off with that Nerf Scalpel and a Spider's Bite, I believe.
Yeah.
He does have Peeler in the sideboard, mainly for things like Oldhim, to be able to really chip through that armor or decks with a lot of armor in general, right? So that's a little bit different. You see cards that I didn't play like Razor's Edge. It only targets stealth cards, so you really do have to have a higher concentration of the stealth cards for it to be useful, but it does
Yeah.
also block for 3.
Yeah.
So it is kind of important to note that Uzuri's main game plan in here is still solidly mid-range. I don't because Azalea is such a good counter to pure aggro and pure redline, with all the on hits and such. Uzuri's main game plan has to be mid-range. I don't think you race, especially not with Sam's list. It's just not aggro enough. It's not fast enough.
Yeah.
Whereas Levi's just trying to put as many on hits as possible. So keep going with the game here. We see that boulder trap swinging on through. He's
Yeah.
going to be taking
On
6
the
turn
Providence,
1.
that makes sense, but 6 damage, that's a lot to take turn 1. I guess he got some compensation
Turn
out of
1
it, but it still
Turn
hurts.
1 is nice. Turn 1 is nice for Assassin because Sam's on 9 Isolate. And they all have Dominate, meaning he can get a buff, he can swap in something else, get free damage. Getting free damage with Uzuri turn 1 is actually quite easy with the daggers and with all the abilities that you have. So we're going to see what
Right.
Levi can do activating the Death Dealer.
Putting
And,
in a
you
nice
know,
drill shot. I believe that is red.
yeah, Sam's off to a good lead here, 34 to
Oh.
40.
Okay, that is a double spike with blood rod, I believe.
No, it's got to be Lace.
Lace
Spike is
inner shell.
attack
Okay.
reaction. Yeah, it looks like a Lace with Blood Rod, 2 of them.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant.
Um,
Lace with blood rod. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have double lace with blood rod, so 3 3 4 coming in for 10.
Yep, should be
And
10.
you'll see, and you see, this is the beauty of mid range. You have 3 blocks. You put a piece of armor, and you say thank you, come again. And Sam still has a card in hand and a card in arsenal. With Uzuri, you only need 2 cards for a really good hand. Like that's the ability. You're allowed to cheat resources so easily with Uzuri
Yep.
just by stealth. In
Okay.
this case, it's just nimblism, leave no witnesses. Which
That's
is
strong. Yeah.
a dirty 2-card hand coming out from Drip Drop over
Yeah.
here.
2 cards for
Important
7.
to note the Crown of Providence is also at -1
Yep.
because of the Boulder Trap. So Boulder Trap, a very nice card in Azalea, and I don't even think that Levi was particularly high in the card initially. Oh no, he was high on Boulder Trap. He wasn't high on Tar Pit Trap. I don't think he's running Tar Pit. He's running Boulder Trap. So he's going to be taking the Leave No Witnesses.
Took all of it. Ooh, so banishing, I believe,
Rabble
not X, but it's
and
1 from hand. No, Arsenal and top of deck, I believe.
Arsenal top of deck. See how many copper puts through. Pretty sure Sam's not. I think the only contract he's running is Leave No. I don't think he's on surgicals. He's on very few blues in this build because he's doing the whole cheat the resource curve, try to get as much efficiency as possible, right? So it definitely makes sense. But we do see Levi
Use the
swinging
glide
back
path, opting 1. Oh, okay.
here.
Yeah, that would be
Deadeye.
very good to get an aim counter on the next arrow here. Codex. That looks
So
like
Codex of Frailty. I want to talk a little bit about Codex of Frailty here. Just a sec. So it's interesting because both of these decks can run Codex of Frailty. Very good for both players because here, if Sam was attacking with the daggers, they don't do anything, right? If they had an arsenal, it'd be -1. But for Sam, arrows always come from the arsenal, so it's always going to be a -1.
it's true.
That's a pretty big deal because those breakpoints, especially when your armor is looking a little spent, you got a little bit, but it becomes more and more
We
like
saw 9. We
worthwhile.
saw 10. We saw the 4 with the drill shots
10.
4. We saw a 10. So a lot of
We did.
over by 1.
A lot of breakpoints
right?
here.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And Frailty is going to be probably the card to watch out for in coming through the next couple weeks here. I don't think they're going to ban it. It's just a strong card, especially the Frailty because it allows you to, if you're able to dodge the effect where you don't have to discard yourself, it allows you to get something engraved, play it, you get the Ponder, refill your arsenal, and give them a Frailty. And if they don't have an arsenal, they have to they essentially have to put something from grave and discard a card from hand, so they're only blocking with 3 cards.
Yeah.
That's
nasty.
dirty.
Yeah.
That's dirty, especially when you have like double buffs. You've got +6 on board already for whatever arrow. He can get whatever arrow he wants.
That's true.
So I think it's very, very good, especially in the meta. We can start the game back up here. So it's very, very good if you're able to optimally use codexes to your advantage. And I think Frailty is the easiest one to look at as being very recyclable because you can get like with 3 Frailty of Codex of Frailties, you can get your up to two cost. You could play it 6 times a game. if you
Mm-hmm.
use if you use the codex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is less like a hey, you like these three CNCs? Enjoy four, five, six CNCs.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You
The
know,
bad thing is that you're going to give your opponent a potential CNC as a ranger, and you're like, that's not very good. But like you
you're making
mentioned,
them discard a card, pull one
yep.
in arsenal, and then you CNC them.
And
That's
then you
that's
CNC them.
that's
Now, I
dirty.
wonder
Yeah.
if there are CNCs in Levi's deck. I wouldn't be surprised, but
Mhm.
Ranger likes arrows. Azalea's ability doesn't like to dilute the deck too much, but
They're
with
definitely in
Codex,
Sam's
it's pretty
deck.
nice. Yeah,
Yes, they're definitely
exactly.
in Sam's
Yeah.
deck. So
All
Levi is
right.
able to cross wrap that, which is kind of nice because Codex does put it face down. So he's able to cross wrap that,
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. Yeah. So coming in
shove that
now
drill shot.
for 10, another 10 drill shot. Unfortunately, no aim counter on that because you do have to Azalea the card to put an aim counter
Yep.
on it with Crow's Nest. That would have been a nasty card with a nasty on hit because of Deadeye.
Yes, because that's yeah, the Deadeye would trigger and the drill shot's +1 with the aim counter, right? So it would have been
Yeah.
11.
I think it has piercing one, not +1.
Oh, piercing one.
Yeah,
That's
which,
true. Yeah.
at 10 damage, effectively the same.
Yeah. Sam's gonna laugh it off, and he's gonna take another
He took
arrow
the
to the
10.
knee here, but he's gonna take the arrow to the head in this particular case. So Crown of
Mm,
Providence is now at 0 armor. He took the 10, so
yeah.
that's just gonna be a sink below for all intents and purposes.
Yep. It's true.
Sam showing Levi that he's top dog in min max with the Rainbow Foil E Strike coming in
Yeah, flexing
for I
hard here.
imagine it's 5. So it's interesting because of the frailty. The leave note comes in for 3, so it's easier to block.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah.
so he's got to get it out of the arsenal. He can't just leave it there. So I'm
Yeah.
imagining he's gonna
I
go
think you're
again.
right. So it was go again, coming in for 3 now. And
You're gonna get a card out of hand though.
yeah, it's true. But Azalea, she doesn't really care as much about using 2 3 card hands.
Yeah, no, it's true. It really depends on how aggressive you are. But with the frailty, you gotta get the card in hand from arsenal. Otherwise, you
Yeah,
can't just have an open leave no win sitting there. But
exactly. Yeah.
uh,
So we're seeing a nice cross wrap. Of
cross
course, you
wrap.
always want to start your turn with a cross wrap because you have the
Yep.
potential to Azalea the card and if it's a nice arrow.
Hmm.
And we are seeing the
There
Easter
you
egg
go.
come in probably for 5 go again because you want a Death Dealer or
Yeah.
something out.
Yeah, ideally, I think the greatest turn with the tunic is you have like buff, one pitch, like Ren the Ledger with
Right.
double buff Azalea dominate, something like that.
Yep.
I don't think Ren the Ledger is actually the best into Uzuri, just because Uzuri has like a lot of like strong
Yeah.
one card.
Yeah,
Because
like
you can
one
use Uzuri,
stealth card, Azuri's ability to get out like a CNC or something. Right?
she has a lot of disruption, right? And so you could just block with a card and then pitch to attack with a 2 for 6 with disruption, like a CNC, and it's still okay, right? It's not terrible,
Yeah.
but
We're seeing the sink below for 0 come in.
we're seeing sink below for 0. A
Yeah.
very very strong play. He's gonna sink the card from hand.
We are seeing a buff here. Read the glide
Read the
path.
glide path. I think that's a red. Looks like a red.
Yeah, I don't know if he runs the yellows.
I don't know, but it's very good with Bolton shot because it gives a go again.
Bolton shot, very nice. Yeah. He did
So
use
best
Tunic
case,
for the Death Dealer, so
he
very
did
nice
use
way
he
to get
did
an
use
extra card.
Yeah. Best case scenario is a 0 cost arrow in hand, and he reloads, gets it in there, and fires again. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Or an Arsenal. Codex.
he, oh my
That's
god, that's
very
so
nice. Actually.
dirty.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the
Because-
case where you said where if you're using it as your last card, you don't have
Yeah.
a card to discard. So now you're getting a free
Exactly.
arrow.
Exactly.
It's,
You get the free
really
0 cost
nasty.
arrow, and you get to play it. Because guess what? Bolden Shot has go again. So when we're looking at this kind of replay from an analysis point of view, you can see Levi is like he's worked hard with timing all of his codexes, timing all of his arrows, and he's
Yeah.
able to like string together a bunch of value arrows, right? So he's using things like drill shot, getting the extra armor piece, using codexes to just keep giving frailties to Sam here. So like his daggers aren't going to
Yep.
do anything if he wants to do that. His arsenal's going to be 1 less, so break points. So that death
Precisely.
touch is coming in for 5 instead of 6.
Yep.
Is that a red?
Hard to
Interesting.
tell,
Yeah.
but I think it is a red. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the red. Yeah, and he couldn't even use that 2 floating to swing with a dagger because guess what? It doesn't
Exactly.
do anything. On
Yeah,
your
if
turn.
you're-
Wouldn't that
if
be
you're
nice to
relying
swing in
on
with a
just-
dagger?
Exactly. Like you have a single blue and 2 floating resources.
Yeah.
Like could mean a lot with if the dagger hit, especially if you have an on hit that comes afterwards.
Yeah, so
this
we're
case,
just gonna
yeah.
see like a block.
Okay.
We're
Boulder
gonna
trap
see
is coming in.
ooh, Sam saying,
Or
"I'd
not-
like a go again."
Oh yeah.
Boulder trap. Boulder
Boulder
trap is
trap.
coming. It doesn't trigger,
Yeah.
but it does make Sam just essentially like waste go again on his boots because he
Yeah.
probably had another one cost attack or a 0 cost attack.
Ooh, that is a new card. That is a heat
Melting-
melting
melting
point.
point?
Melting
No?
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's the +4, I believe, for 1.
Yeah, I think the on hit like hurts his dagger, it destroys his dagger, but it's
Right.
does not going to hit anyways. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that
Okay.
Levi included melting point. I think
Yeah.
originally he didn't think it would make the cut, but maybe he was just assuming there'd be more ninja and more
Maybe.
assassin.
It's a card that I also
So
considered, but I didn't really like that it costed one.
it's a 1 for 4 though. Like it's still on rate, blocks for 3, right?
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I just felt there were so many other buffs that I wanted to include. I didn't see
I
any
like
premeditate yet. I don't know if he's running
I
it.
didn't see any print. He's definitely running it.
Okay.
I like how Sam just flicked the Codex of Frailty back in his face, back in Levi's face, be like, "Hey, you take one."
Yeah.
This
It's
goes
your
both
turn
ways
now.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do see a
Levi does
rabble
get
that
to put.
revealed a shred, and he's gonna get Sam's gonna get the Death Touch in the arsenal because he does have the tunic to pay for it.
Right.
And I find the Death Touch is really really good with Blood Rot, Codex of Blood Rot, and Codex of Frailty, and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to recycle that value because a lot of the times that on hit is just so impactful.
Right.
It doesn't have to be Blood Rot, but it can also be like Inertia's really good into this area, just getting them off the arsenal.
Yep. That's
Very, very
probably the
strong.
best choice unless you're going for lethal with blood rot. I think that's you're gonna get like the
Yeah,
most advantage state out of that
correct.
element, whatever they're
Yep.
called.
Nope. Yeah, I know what you mean. So he's gonna get that shred in the arsenal from the Ponder token because of the Codex of Frailty. The fact that it gives you the Ponder too is just so good,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like it pays for it. Like it's a net neutral, just
There it
like
is.
on its
Premeditate.
own, right? Premeditate.
Yeah. Very nice. This is the on hit where I believe you
He
cannot.
gets a Ponder on hit.
It's the ponder. Sorry. Yes, I was thinking of
Yeah.
seek and destroy. This is the ponder, right?
No, he does have his own Seek and Destroy token though.
Hmm?
He has a full size Seek and Destroy. I
Oh,
don't think
does he?
he hasn't played. You'll see it eventually. I saw it in one of the other games. I think.
That's cool. Like he commissioned that,
Um,
I guess.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think it was Mara. I think the Dromite player,
Okay.
Blackwing Studios. I think.
Very
So
nice. Full block, I
you
believe, on that.
yeah. So let's take a quick pause here just to look at the board for a sec
Yeah.
as he gets infected. So it's 20 to 20, 20 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, he's evened out. Levi's being able to even out that health gap, that nice dominate that Sam was going to get turn one.
Mm-hmm.
Sam has only one armor left from the
Yeah. Black
black
tech
tech. He was able to,
whispers.
yeah, because I think he got the 2 silver from the Leave No Witnesses, so he used it to
It came back.
refund.
Yeah.
It came back, right? Which is the whole like that's your best case scenario that you get 2 armor on a black tech. So it's
Right.
it's pretty good in that case. So
Mm-hmm.
as far as the win cons here, who's doing better? Is Levi able to successfully? He's going very tall, but he's really not azaleaing it. So
Yep.
that's like one point where he probably could get more damage if he azaleas. Whereas Sam is kind of just like he ends up having to play with these like 1 to 2 card hands and like blocks a lot. So who's kind of doing who's wearing it better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting because both decks can do pretty well with 2 card hands and
Mhm.
tunic. So
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's pretty even. I couldn't tell you who's really in an advantage state right now. Um,
Yeah.
because both have access to dominate too. You know,
Mhm.
the more life lead you gain, the better position you will be in this matchup.
Yeah, it is like Sam's very clearly not trying to fatigue Azalea,
Yeah.
so it is very nice when the deck's not trying the deck's actually trying to play the game with you. It's quite nice. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um so that is a bit of a shift in strategy because you can see that Levi is not pitch stacking at all. Like he's just throwing
Playing
the
it all
kitchen
out.
sink.
Yeah.
He's throwing the kitchen sink, right? And
Hmm.
it is kind of like I think if he was expecting fatigue, he'd probably be on the other coda the other quiver, like probably the legendary quiver that gets you 3 arrows back,
Oh yeah.
maybe. Even though I think buffs are more important in Azalea than arrows, whereas Lexi wants the arrows back.
Yeah.
So I think that's something else to consider. I also think that Levi's been really good at getting those on hits with specifically drill shot. He's gotten what 2 armor
Both of
value
them.
off of that. Yeah,
Yep.
he's gotten
Yep.
one off flick knives and one off the crown, and then the first one was I forgot how he got the first armor piece. First armor
It
tick.
was
It
the
must have been
boulder
another
trap.
the boulder trap exactly. So he's got a lot to counter buffs, which is quite good, especially when you're against like other rangers also, right? Like that
Yep.
boulder trap definitely puts in the work here. So I actually think Levi is in a bit better spot because he didn't start with any armor to begin with, really, right? And he still got all of his stuff.
That's
Whereas
true.
Sam is he lost the crown, pretty much getting no block out of it. Flick knives not gonna get block out of it, which is like when you're playing a class like Ranger, you get kind of a stronger ability to recycle cards with things like Death Dealer, but at the expense of like not having a weapon, and then your armor is just not a thing, really, right? But Assassin playing more mid range in general has more three blocks, more armor,
Yeah.
and you're able to string together smaller turns. So I think Levi's actually pulling ahead a
He
little bit.
he did more to get here, I think. He did
You
more
have to work
damage
harder.
and disrupted
Yeah.
more to get here. Yeah.
Yep. For sure. All right, let's we
Cool.
can play this out here. So we see a red infect coming from Sam. Probably one of my favorite cards
Yeah.
coming out of Assassin. It's just a 0 for possibly 5. Like, you
Right.
don't want to take this? Sure. Have a
Yeah.
blood rod. Don't want to pay for it? Take 2 damage. Like, it's really just like everything you want in a common,
It's a good
right?
point. Yeah. Probably gonna be
Um
very good limited card.
it is very good, especially for Arachne when you could give that go again, right? So he's gonna take the 3, and guess what? He's gonna have blood rod coming right. Oh, like leave it. He's such a nice guy. He's just gonna put the
He has
blood
his
rod
own
on his own
tokens.
side.
I mean,
He's got
if
his
you're
own
given
tokens.
them, you're gonna have to be ready to take them.
It's true. So we got the tunic on 3. I guess if he has a pitch card, he's gonna pitch for Death Dealer. If not, he's got the tunic to pay for Death Dealer. So he's doing
Yeah.
pretty good there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Um,
You probably want a tunic first just to see what you draw because you don't want to pitch a card that you might want to use after
yeah,
you draw.
we do see
So
that.
read the glide
We do see the
path.
opt.
Yeah,
He
very
just
good
takes
buff.
he takes a very short look at it and puts it right to the bottom. So probably not where he parked his car. He's gonna Death Dealer with the tunic.
Yeah,
Lure Red in the
red in the
Ledger. Very
ledger.
good card.
I think he might have drawn into a drill shot. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. It was knock the death whistle.
He is gonna knock. So he's gonna knock something. Azalea, put the red on the bottom. If that's another
Yeah,
buff, he has 2 cards
he
left, right? I think he has 2 cards left in hand.
he'll have one. I think it's one in hand if I'm not mistaken.
But he used Tunic for Death Dealer, so he gained a free card back essentially.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I guess we'll see shortly. So I guess there are a few options here because knock the death whistle is one of those cards that can guarantee you the crow's nest activation because you can
True.
Azalea and then give the aim counter. So
Yeah,
very
so he
good
has 2 cards
choice.
left.
2 cards. You're right. Yeah, yeah. So you can easily pitch for the crow's nest here, which I think he might have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
guess there is
he
no
didn't.
token on it, but he paid. I think he paid all 3. So crow's nest, Deadeye, and the blood
Yeah.
rot arrow. Okay, there it
Infecting
is.
shot. Yeah, it
Infecting
is.
shot.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, he has the one. He probably just like didn't
Yeah,
tick over the crow's nest,
I
but
mean,
he
very
did use it.
effective.
So
Very effective turn actually. Holy crap.
that's dominated 12.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yeah,
not bad.
with
That could be worse.
really nice on hits here. Deadeye's
Remember
active,
the
so strips a card of choice,
Yeah.
and the of course the blood rot.
Yep. Important to note that that infect is actually going to get the 5 damage across. Just want to point that out there. But we
Oh, is
will
it? Yeah,
see.
because you can't pay for the blood
Yeah,
rot.
Sam just like throwing the cards on the table. Did I doing some work
Take
here?
what you want. I actually underestimated the value of the Ravenous Rabble in the Uzuri deck because you are going more aggressive, more red line, and
Yes.
you're able to play that for maximum value. So
It's good in mid range too because you can Azuri it out and it just comes in for 5 go again,
oh,
and
that's
then you
right,
can
of
like
course.
play
Yeah,
something else, right? So
you've
that's
you've
I think
played
you
it in
played
your
in mid
deck,
range
right?
too.
I think you might have
Yes,
had it. Yeah, okay.
yes it is. I haven't actually
Auto
Azuri'd
include.
it out yet,
Mhm.
but that's because I had something else to play.
Yeah,
So I just like did that.
yeah. If you can
Ravenous.
cheat out a 2 cost, you might as well, rather than cheat out the
Yeah,
extra 1 damage on your Ravenous.
Rabble's even better in his deck because he runs very few blues.
Hmm.
Sam, that is, right? So Sam was left with 2 reds, one of them being I think a spike, and the other being a razor's edge, which do a whole lot of nothing when
Nice EA Armory promo there.
nice EA armory promo. So we just see the dagger coming in.
I think you just took
That's
the one,
it.
right? Yeah.
I think he just took the 1. Yeah. So we do see
Rabble.
Rabble coming
Oh,
from
premeditate on top, I believe. So that is a 4
yeah,
go
or
again.
go again. Yeah.
That
So
isn't
now
a
we see
token
Levi
yet. It's just a
Levi in
regular
a
premeditate.
commanding, just a regular premeditate. Levi is now in a commanding list, 15 to 11. That dominated affecting shot off the knock.
Yeah.
Very good. Especially, I think that's just like the biggest 1 cost arrow you could really get.
Yeah.
Right.
In terms
As
of
far as
raw
going.
damage.
It's for some raw damage because of the blood rod. Because like the blood rod can also like threaten another 2 if you don't do anything about it.
Exactly.
We do see this is just Rabble v Rabble. Honestly, is what's going on here.
Yeah, it's just a wet fish fight,
Yeah.
just slapping each other.
Is what It's a Magic Carp Fiesta. So we do see Wither, which is the frailty. So that is going to demand the
Deadeye.
block.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. So let's stop this right here.
Yep.
Just one sec here, because this is very important. What Levi did. So before the Uzuri resolves, he put the defense reaction. The reason he did that is because of Command and Conquer. Because if he waits for the
Oh,
Uzuri to resolve, and that's Command and Conquer, you can no longer play that D react. But if you
okay.
respond to Uzuri, the cost of Uzuri is putting the card face down. So you've picked the card that you're gonna Uzuri switch in,
Hmm.
but then it has to resolve. Meaning in
Okay.
reaction stage, you can react to them, before it resolves.
That makes
So it's
sense.
very important that Levi put the sync
And
before the
you
resolution.
got to do it before
Otherwise,
you even see
CNC.
the card, right?
Correct.
They put a card face
Uh,
down, you react with your D react before they can flip it.
before they can flip it. And you can do this because it's an attack reaction phase. It's not like an instant speed. So if it was an
Hmm.
instant speed, that's different because then you can only respond with other instants, right? You can't
Right.
because the instant chain will close. Like the instance will close kind of in the aether. I say
Yeah.
like in the aether. It's not super clear where exactly it
It's
is,
like
but
spell
uh,
speed too. It's like a
it's quick.
higher
It's
spell
quick.
speed.
It's quick. Yeah, it's quick spell, right? Like it's
Hmm.
it's definitely not sorcery level here. So that is essentially what Levi was trying to
That's cool.
avoid here. So we could keep going, but it's
Yeah.
important to note that
Cool interaction for sure.
yeah, this is just shakedown.
We're
So
seeing
this man is
shred.
being shaken down and shredded, which is not CNC, but like you can't really,
Yep.
does look like a yellow shred, I believe. So he's gonna shred the Deadeye and
Okay, I
hit
lost the
that.
premeditate, I believe.
Yeah, because now Levi just has knock, right?
Yeah.
And two on the tunic. So is that an arrow
Oh,
in the? It
there's.
is
It
the
was
premeditate, right?
premeditate. Okay. Yes, I didn't catch what he lost there, but anyway, he has premeditate. He is opting one. Hopefully, it's an arrow. It looks like it is, or
It
maybe an
is
E
an arrow
strike or
because he's gonna
something.
Azalea.
Oh, it is
Oh, it's a
ravenous rabble.
rabble.
Yeah. Okay.
He just casually flicks the seek and destroy under it. So it's gonna go for 4 go again.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, not much else you could do. You can't. There's no tunic, so you wouldn't be able to load an arrow with your death dealer anyway.
You would not. So yeah, I guess he arsenals the knock. I'm not really sure what he's gonna do with the knock here, but
Yeah, I mean it's okay to
I
Arsenal
guess you
because you can
can.
get a free opt next turn. Plus, you can hopefully get lucky and get either a buff or an arrow on top of your
Yeah,
deck and Azalea it in.
Azalea it out. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
that's
So
true.
Azalea's one of those
Azalea it out,
classes that
Azalea
you
it in.
really don't mind arsenaling like garbage.
Yeah, that and Oldhim, right? That and Crown of
Hold him
Seals.
too.
Those are kind of the two get the garbage out.
Yep.
So we do see another isolate. So Levi's going to be scared of that
Yeah.
dominate, possibly.
Yep.
Melting point.
Melting
We
point.
see an Uzuri activation. Do we see another D react coming out of Levi?
Rabble for
Nope.
5. Yeah,
5 go against swapping the attack resolution. So it's going to take 2.
I
So
believe
now
so.
now another wither. So wither is the one you want, right? Like fatigue, like not fatigue. What's it called? Frailty is like the one that hurts because it'll be the -1 on your arsenal.
Hmm. Right.
Um, everything else is like it doesn't really affect their turn. Like
Yeah. The
maybe
minus
blood,
one
like
hurts a
effect is
little
good.
bit.
Effect is
Right.
good. Effect
Right.
is good. I think effect is the only better one in this scenario because when you're at lower than 10 life, that 2 is just 20%.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Talk
I
about
think Blood
tactics
Rot
here.
matters a lot more now. And Azalea doesn't run that high of
Yeah,
a pitch curve, so Blood Rot is pretty annoying.
exactly. So he's gonna go down to 5.
Okay, took the full.
Levi took it. Yeah,
Yep,
that's the thing. The frailty is like -1, but it's just like just
it's
minus
okay.
one.
Yeah, you don't really mind as much because you're buffing anyway, typically. Okay, so actually playing out the knock here,
And
uh,
putting them up.
the infecting shot could be nice. I didn't catch if there were any like barbed undertows or anything like that, but okay,
Red the ledger.
going for End the Ledger. So
I haven't seen any barbed undertows.
yeah, so likely not being run, but that
Mhm.
is a interesting choice. Because Uzuri, as you mentioned, doesn't care as much about the single action point. So I'm not sure if Blood Rot or infecting might have been a little stronger.
Oh my good
Well,
golly
he's giving
gosh.
Blood Rot anyway. So, oh man, imagine 2 Blood Rots. Ooh, that would have been spicy.
Imagine life. So we see coming in for 10, so that's a
Yeah.
I think it's a lace and a seek and destroy, if I'm not.
That is Seek and
Lace and
Destroy.
blood rot, and I think it's lace and blood rot because that costs 0, and seek and destroy also costs
Yeah,
0.
I think you're right. So coming
Um,
in for 10. I might have missed why it's 10. Is that maybe a yellow lace with Blood Rot?
it,
Oh, -1 because of the frailty.
it's -1
Yeah,
frailty, yeah. So
that makes
that's kind
sense.
of like
So red,
like
it would have been 11, but it's 10.
this is actually useful because Sam does have 1 armor off those boots, right?
Yeah,
So we were talking about that before about those
it's
breakpoints.
true.
So breakpoints in this matchup actually matters a lot because you might be able to save yourself blood rot.
And
Um,
Seek and Destroy.
yeah, if you're blocking with that much, I don't think seek and destroy is worth it. But
It's true. I mean, you
has
have 4 cards, so 3 cards plus the boots. Arsenal 1 card,
mm,
not so bad. Also,
I'm
actually, you
gonna
can't block
block.
that much because it's dominated, which I forgot about.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. There's that seek and destroy token.
Oh,
That
that's
I
the
was
one you were
mentioning. See
talking
that? You
about.
see,
Oh,
you
right,
see
it
that seek
wasn't
and destroy
premeditated, it
token?
was seek and destroy. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
seek and destroy.
It's very nice. Yeah.
It's
So
quite
we're
nice.
looking at
4.
5 and 5 for the health totals. Very
Definitely a
close.
close game.
Yeah, really close.
So we do see another isolate. Oh,
Yep.
there's the D react. I
Yeah.
wonder if he got it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
that actually
CNC, and
mattered
this
there.
is this
Wow.
is why you do it.
That is so smart.
But now we see a frailty, codex of frailty. But he's gonna pitch it because of blood rot, right? So because he was only allowed to do one action because of the red ledger.
Right, right. Yeah, so I guess you throw the
So we're
CNC out
gonna.
anyway, unless you want to keep. I'm not really sure if that was the right move to play it out. Maybe it
Well,
was.
that's the cost.
Oh, and you
Like,
had
well, like
because you banish it, so you kind of have
yeah,
to play it out. Yeah,
you don't have to, but then you're
but
just
then
not
you
doing anything.
exactly. You lose it anyway.
You lose it anyways, but you want it in grave because of codex of frailty.
Right.
You don't want it in banish, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you actually want to use it to get it to grave
Yeah,
because then you can codex it back.
of course. Yeah.
Or Levi can codex it back for you, right? But it's yeah, that's how it goes.
Full
And we
block,
see
no
these
reload.
fates, the fates and sinks from Sam's lists, just
Yeah,
like solidifying the mid range plan into
yeah.
Azalea, which I think is correct.
They're
Like I
doing a
don't
lot
think
of
you can
work.
race. Yeah,
Another
they are doing a
isolate,
lot. Like
man. You said
he does run the
he
9
runs
isolates.
all 9. Okay. Yeah.
9. He runs all 9. I do not. I just don't really have the space. I think isolate's a very good card. Just
Yeah.
because it dominates, so you can
Yeah.
leak
It's
damage.
good
But
for closing out games too.
yep, it's also nice to like play. Guess what I have in my hands, right? Whenever you play
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stealth card,
Exactly. Yeah. You might always
isolates can
threaten to
like
dominate.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna be a block for 3.
Yeah.
And
Isolate's base damage is 3, right? Or am I wrong?
yes,
It's 3. Okay. Yeah.
yes. So we're gonna see Uzuri, that card right there, and the sync from the
So many.
arsenal.
So Levi is running 3 sinks and 3 fates, I believe.
3 sinks, 3 boulder traps, I believe. Possibly 2
Ah,
boulder traps.
no
He doesn't run
fates.
fates. I don't think
Interesting,
so.
because Opt 1 is
I think he
usually
just
pretty
doesn't.
nice, but
I think he doesn't have a space. I think it's
yeah.
a space issue. I
Well,
think he
Boulder
like he
Trap
probably could.
probably will take the
He does
place.
work.
Yeah.
It does
It
work.
does a lot of
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
To old him, it does a lot of work.
Okay.
Into like
Cracking
everything,
the
it does work.
yeah, cracking the bracers there, going in for a nice buffed Bolton shot.
Yeah.
That looks
I
blue to me. No, I think it's red, so it should be for 5.
no, it's red.
Oh, I
I
see the
think he
dice.
doesn't have
Yeah.
I think he doesn't have buffs. That's why he's doing this. That's my guess. Because otherwise he doesn't get the go again, right? So using the bullseye to get the guaranteed go again, he has 2 cards left. He could pitch for Death Dealer, I guess. But if he pitches for Death Dealer and doesn't draw a buff, and then he has Bolden Shot in hand, it feels real bad. It feels real mediocre. So he wants to guarantee it, which is useful. Like it's 5, it's lethal, right? So guaranteeing that lethal is you guaranteeing at least Tunic, right? If Sam doesn't want to block from hand, but
Yep.
it looks like Sam just casually counting out all the D reacts that have stonewalled his turns so
Yeah.
far.
Are you allowed to reorder your opponent's grave like that? I assume you are
No,
because they're doing it. No, you're not.
no,
You just
no.
kind
I
of
don't think you
stack
can
them all
reorder the
together
grave.
and put them on top there.
No, I'm pretty sure you cannot do that,
Yeah.
but that doesn't really
I,
matter.
I, I
in this
assume,
case.
yeah, neither of these players really mind.
No, they're butts.
Yeah.
They play together all the time.
Yeah.
So it
Seeing
looks like it's gonna be a
CNC
block
and
for
E
6.
Strike. Very expensive block here.
Very expensive block.
Very
So
nice.
we do see the red in the ledger coming through
Yep.
with the Death Dealer. So red in the ledger coming in for 5.
Yeah.
Again, as I kind of alluded to, no buffs. Looks like it was yellow Bolden Shot, and red in the ledger with the last 2 cards, and whatever he just drew, probably not a buff. So using the bullseye to like guarantee that, and still coming in for lethal, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. No dominate, unfortunately, but this
No
will force
dominate.
the last card or the tunic, whichever comes first.
The last card or
Probably
Tunic.
there's probably going to be no full block on this unless there's a nice cheeky D react in hand, but I assume this is going to go through.
Depending on what his card is, Sam's probably thinking there are 2 options here. You block with Tunic, you go to 4,
You go to
and then
1.
you come back with you go from you take 4 is what I
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
And then if your last card is if your card is stealth in the arsenal
Right.
and you're
You
always 2 cards in hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I only thought it was
Right.
1, so
So I think you block with at least 1 card here, and then you like stealth something in.
yeah. Get to a healthy
That's
life
what I
lead
think.
or a healthy left. Don't go down to 1 because a single dominate will definitely kill
Yes, it looks like he has shakedown too, so I think that's the plan.
you. Is
Oh,
that
Ray
a Raid
Razors.
Razor? and that's game.
Oh, that's lethal. Yeah. What
Oh,
did he
oh
have? Okay,
wow.
let's pause for a sec. So
Sure.
he had Shakedown, Infect,
Um,
and Spike with Blood Rot.
yeah, right.
Can you go back like a tiny bit? I want to see which one was in the arsenal. Sam just
Ooh,
kind of like threw
hang
it all
on.
down like he didn't care. Okay, yeah. Now play it one more time.
Let's go. I can go a bit earlier, maybe.
No, no, no. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You were at the right spot.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay, the arsenal was Spike. So it was
Okay.
Spike around the arsenal. So he couldn't have done anything because Spike was in the arsenal. I thought Infect was in the arsenal. So if Infect is in the arsenal, you block with Spike and Tunic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason you block with Spike and Tunic is first of all you preserve health. You don't have to block with Tunic. You can just block with the Spike at the very least. So then you would take 2, go down to 3.
Right.
Um, and then you have one action. Your action is Shakedown, which is pretty good.
Mm.
Because Levi doesn't have any sinks left, and he used 2 boulder traps, he might not be running third boulder trap in this matchup. I'm
That's
not
fair.
actually sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty realistic to like assume that he's not going to block with 2 cards. He's just going to be like, yeah, it's fine. And then Shakedown would have been good disruption, and he might have actually been able to get back in the game like that because he gets a banish out of it, right?
And that was his first rain
Um,
razor also. So it was kind of like he didn't play it
it
on
was the
the
first
he
rain
didn't play it on the
razors.
Bolton shot. So he probably
Wonder,
drew it with the Death Dealer.
I think he drew it. I think his last 2 cards were Yellow Bolt and Shot and Ren the Ledger, and he drew into Rain
He
Razors,
drew into rain
right?
razor,
'Cause
yeah. But that
I
that
think
must
if you
be
hit the
yeah.
yeah, if you have the buff, you just load Bolt and Shot and you
Or is it just
fire
the
it.
4D chess where you don't play it
It's
early
40. It's
and then you
40 chess for
guarantee
sure.
lethal because they never see it coming? But no, I think
Yeah,
he
but
drew.
with that,
Yeah.
with Sam's hand, I think. Oh man, yeah, Sam was a little on the greedy side. I don't know if I would have because Sam's idea is essentially you block with Tunic, you go down to 1, and then you infect Shakedown, and you have Spike in Arsenal.
Right. So you keep the
Um,
spike basically.
the issue with that play in my mind is that I don't know a position where you're gonna have enough cards to use Spike. A Spike costs 1.
Mm,
But like he might have been thinking that Spikes can win him the game, which it can. It's
right.
a 1 for 3. It's an attack reaction. Could win him in the game.
Yeah.
So I think there's merit to both. I think I'm probably just a bit more conservative.
Well, at this life
Um,
total, and you're facing Azalea, who gets dominate on demand, pretty much.
I think I would be a lot happier with Razor's Edge in Arsenal because it costs 0.
Yeah,
Because then I can play a 0.
you
Because
can
then in
you can
that
just
case I'm
play it
blocking
out.
with Shakedown. Yeah,
Yeah,
because then I'm blocking with Shakedown. Probably keeping Tunic for some other breakpoint that I really need to block, like Lethal,
that's fair.
something like that.
Yeah,
And then I'm just Infect, and then possibly I win off Razor's Edge or just Arsenal. But keeping the 1 cost in Arsenal without any way of filtering it, I personally wouldn't have done it. I think it's fine for Sam. Like again, you can keep 2 cards and be like, okay, well, blue. It's like literally any blue in a 0 cost and you could pay for it, or any red in a 0 cost and you could pay
yeah,
for it, right?
yeah.
So I think it's pretty reasonable, but very very close game back and forth. I think
Yeah, it was a good game.
both players played pretty well. Obviously, this is semis.
Yeah,
I think Levi got real fortunate with the timings on his D reacts. He doesn't run a ton of them, and I think he got them at the perfect time
yeah,
for all of them, pretty much.
that's true.
Because like it's like he played them correctly. It's not he didn't just get lucky, but he like played them like he should have. But
Yep,
I think he had them on all the good like he stopped Deathly Touch,
yep.
which would have
Stop
done like
stop the
some pretty good work.
CNC there at the end.
The CNC was big. Yeah, the
Yeah,
CNC to grab the Arsenal, but I think that was a sync from the Arsenal, possibly. I'm not actually 100% sure. I think it
maybe,
might have been isolate then sync from Arsenal.
maybe. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but one thing too that I noticed is, I mean, I don't watch a ton of Azalea gameplay, but I know that playing Knock the Death Whistle is it's kind of hard sometimes as a new Azalea player to know when to play Knock the Death Whistle because it's a blue
when to
that
pitch with it.
you often like to pitch it and you see it too late and it doesn't really matter anymore. So I think Levi's knowledge of when to play it is really huge here, and he did
Mhm.
manage to get it off with a perfect
Like a shot.
buff and a dead
Yeah,
shot plus the crow's
dead
nest.
eye.
So he got a really
Yeah,
sorry, it was dead eye, yeah. So he got a really good I think it was like
that
12
was
damage.
that was the
Dominate.
turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Sam blocked with a Fate, and that was the real turning point, right? He got the
Hmm.
Lace with Blood Rot. He got the I think it was Lace with Blood Rot. He got the Dead Eye, as you mentioned. So he got
Right.
and Sam's last 2 cards that was Rabble and then double attack reaction red. So he literally turned Sam's hand from
Hmm.
possibly probably 5 damage to 1 damage. And guess what? That's pretty much the life discrepancy here. Levi's at
It's
5. If he
true.
could have rabbled, he could have been possibly a 1. A
Hmm.
Blood Rot might have been able to do something. A play that I kind of like seeing with Uzuri is like I don't think Sam's running Virulent Touch, but you essentially you get the block out of them and they don't have a lot of block, and you swap out to Virulent Touch and they have blocks, so you give them the Blood
Hmm.
Rot. If they can't pay for it, they die.
That's a
It's kind
tough
of
card
funny.
to get off, but you're right. It definitely could do
Very,
some
very
work
hard.
there. Yeah.
It could.
But
But I think it was still very good on both sides.
yeah,
And
it's nice to
with that,
see. Nice to see kind of the differences in the way that we built our decks to what they're doing here. I'm definitely gonna go back to the drawing board with my Azalea deck and kind of take away some of those aim counter cards that I added.
yeah, no, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I think especially I've definitely made some edits to make my Azuri deck a little bit more aggressive, not necessarily
not
aggressive.
as mid range.
Still solidly in the mid range category though. So if you
Yeah,
guys enjoyed this content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, from wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.